Okay, this is an instructional video for the UVX-300 sensor from EMX Industries. The sensor is a luminescence sensor, and it detects the presence of any luminescent materials such as fluorescent crayons and that sort of thing, adhesives. First of all, we're going to go into the setup menu and look at the various settings in the setup menu. In order to do that, you press and hold the P- key for 3 seconds. And the first selection is the light source intensity. There are 3 settings, U1, U2, and U3, and I'm going to scroll through them. And as you watch the intensity of the light source change, low setting, medium, and high. For now, we'll leave it at the high setting. Scroll to the next item by pressing the P- key again. Hysteresis setting. Hysteresis tells the sensor after it detects a luminescent or reaches its threshold setting, how far does it have to drop below the threshold setting in order to undetect. So right now it's set at, the sensor is set for a hysteresis setting of 4. So if the threshold setting is 20, when the signal level gets to 20, the sensor will trigger, and the output will turn on, and the signal level will need to drop to below 16 in order for the sensor to trigger to return back to the inactive state. So that's the hysteresis setting. To change the hysteresis, the settings are 0 through 9, and you always press the plus key, the T+ key, in order to scroll through the available settings. So we're going to leave this on hysteresis setting of 2. Next item is the normally open, normally closed output, which basically switches the logic on the output, whether it's on when the sensor is above the threshold or whether the output is off when the sensor is above the threshold. That can be selected again by toggling through the choices with the T+ key. Next item is pulse stretching. The sensor with pulse stretching set for 0, whenever the sensor triggers, as indicated by the red LED, the output turns on, and it remains on only for the duration of time while the target is in front of the sensor. So pulse stretching allows the output to be artificially extended whenever it's activated by 10, 20, 30, 40, all the way through 90 milliseconds. So we're going to set in on pulse stretching as 0 for now. The nulling function zeroes the sensor. So typically when I zero the sensor, I want to make sure I have no signal, no luminescent signal. So I'm going to put a black felt target, and I'm going to press and hold the null key, and the sensor has zeroed. The next option is the gain setting. There are 2 gain settings, R1 and R2. R2 is a times 10 multiplier, so that's the high gain setting. So we're going to leave it set on R1 since we have a fairly hot source here. And that's it. Those are all the settings in the setup menu for the sensor. So we press and hold the P- key for 3 seconds to exit the setup menu. And now we're back to reading the target material, this piece of wood. Now I see that there are some orange luminescent marks on the wood, and I have made one here. We'll go over there and take a look at that. Okay, that produces a reading of about 25 on the sensor. So what we're going to do, since that's where we want to trigger the sensor, is we're going to look off the target, and we see that the background is in a range of 2 or 3. So we're going to pick a point where we want this to switch. So in order to change the threshold setting, I press either key for a moment, and the current threshold setting is displayed. Again, press it again. The current threshold is 21. So what I want to do is I want to press and hold this key, and now I want to change this setting by decrementing it. Let's say to 15. We'll set it at 15. Okay, so that's my new threshold setting, 15. When I go off target, you can see the red LED is off, so the output, the sensor's output, is inactive currently. And when I hit the target, I can see that the output activates because I've gone over the threshold setting of 15. And then again, it deactivates as I move past the target. So that's, in a nutshell, that's how you set the sensor up. You can move the sensor a little closer and probably increase the signal level. So again, I've moved the sensor a few centimeters closer, and now I have a stronger signal. So I can adjust the distance and I can change settings on the sensor in order to tweak it in to make it work perfectly for this application.